Hey guys, just wanted to put together a couple of videos for you before Spain and for different age groups and levels of players. Now, 3 balls is something that's going to help you a lot. Now notice how they're all different. One's a spiky ball, which isn't a tennis ball. One's a new one and one's an old one. Now the reason for that is for tracking skills and response and sort of reaction time. So first one, really simple, just juggling. Now obviously for me it's a little different catching on my chest. The whole idea is being able to look to the next ball when we're going. Now with our hands this one feels different to this and to this one. So when you're doing even 2 balls, it's a different weight, different feel, different height, spends a different amount of time in the air. So you're always adjusting and trying to make changes quickly like you are on the tennis court as well. So that's the first one. Second one is using the same balls but on the wall. So you might throw against and try and catch. See, I dropped one, I'll go back to 2, they come off, and then as I get better, I can add that 3rd ball back in. 2 other ones that you can do with a partner is with 2 tennis balls. They can either be new together or they can be different. Standing shoulder width apart, dropping 1 ball only, surprising the person in the front. Now the person in the front wants to be in ready position, they split and then they react. Now this exercise is super for the warm-up, so if you can, before you're having a hit with your friends or your parents or whatever before a lesson, just get 2 people, drop, go, couple of catches, and that's going to get your brain switched on, your legs switched on, ready position, and you're going to be tracking that ball. Tennis is unique in the fact that you don't have to be the biggest, strongest person to be the best. Tracking skills and seeing the ball is probably the #1 thing. Then it's followed by movement and balance when you're hitting that shot. So tracking skills, that's what we need to develop to get our mind, eyes and hands working together to put ourselves in the best position possible. Then when we're in position, it's being balanced and moving through strength or with strength to play that shot. So the racket and the ball are our 2 best friends. We can't play without this or without this. So the hand-eye of that extension is going to help you play better shots and cleaner more often. So simply warming up before a set, before a training session, little things just like this. Playing around, playing games with yourself through the legs. Doesn't matter what you're really doing, but ultimately you're developing that connection between your hand, your racket, and the tennis ball. Now it seems basic sometimes, maybe a little bit boring when you do this again and again, but going for a 10-kilometer run is not going to help you anywhere near as much as just spending more time doing things like this, because we're changing our grip, we're making adjustments, we're seeing that contact point. And if I do this for 5 minutes, I should be able to hit the ball at least, I don't know, maybe 500 times, 600 times. That's 600 more times that my brain gets a signal, changes its grip, looks at that contact point, and for people only playing 1 or 2 hours a week, that is exponential compared to what you're doing. So practice with the ball, with the racket, and just do these little things as much as possible. So moving on from the tracking skills, or sort of advancing into more of a tennis style for tracking, is a wall with our volley. Now notice I'm not swinging with my racket, I'm just getting the contact point, chest height, belly height. There's no real swing, I'm changing from forehand to backhand. And if I do this right, in a couple of minutes, my wrist and my forearm will be really, really sore, and I'll have to stop. That's what we want. We're not swinging big, it's all about that control and that contact point. Notice, if you can see my feet, I'm not sure if you can, but they don't stop. They're always moving. I'm never flat-footed, hardly on my heels. I'm just going from step to step. Find a wall, get out there. So adding speed to a tennis player is super important, obviously to move to the ball, but also to drive up on serves, playing strong forehands, higher shots, and the strength and the power loading up when we're down low. So plyometrics is a form of jump training. So plyometric can simply be jump up, up, up. But notice how it's a quick movement. It's not jump, drop, jump, drop. That's slow, so that develops strength. We want to develop speed as tennis players. So we want to be quick, explosive, bang, bang. And again, notice how I'm not wearing shoes. That's another important thing. And we're going to talk about in the next video why I'm not wearing shoes. So with the plyometrics, you want to do the jumps up until you get fatigued and you feel yourself slowing down. You don't want to jump slow, so it's very important that when you feel slow, stop the exercise, have a rest, and then go again. You can do single leg jumps, double leg jumps, jump onto boxes. As long as you're being safe, it's the best way to do it. So add plyometrics into your week, and that's going to increase your speed. I just spoke about how with the plyometrics, I'm not wearing any shoes, I'm barefoot. And the reason for that is, as tennis players, we're using tennis shoes all the time. The problem with tennis shoes is they're they're a very thick sole with a smaller front. So the arch is apparently for support, but the problem is our foot raises in the shoe. When it raises, we're propping up our muscles on the back of our leg and the front of our ankles. So our Achilles, our calf, and then on the front side of our ankles, they're blocking up. So our foot's in here and the shoe's moving, but we're not really using our foot when we're out there. When we use our foot more, we create sensors, or we have sensors that become more sensitive when we use our feet. On our skin, on our ankle, they're called proprioceptors. Now I'm going to show you some exercises to help strengthen your senses or make them more sensitive, called proprioception development. But as you can see, this shoe doesn't move very much. Like there's a little bit on the toe where it's thinnest, but there's no twist. It's really strong, super hard rubber. Now it's got to hold up on a tennis court, that's why it's so thick and so hard. But our foot doesn't get to be a foot anymore. It's stuck in this boot. So for tennis players, when you can get out of there, which it should be every time you're off the court, you should never wear tennis shoes outside of tennis, we need to strengthen our feet and our proprioceptors. So all of these exercises I'm showing you today, I would do in barefoot or in a really thin sandal that I sometimes use, and I would highly recommend that you guys do too. So proprioception, what I was referring to before, is about the skin sensors, ankle sensors. They send a message to the brain and let you know where you are in space and time, avoiding injuries, keeping the right muscles engaged. So super critical for tennis players because we move so laterally and forward and back, but we're always off, and we can be off balance when we're playing shots. So I'm going to show you a couple of little exercises. They're simple, barefoot exercises that you can do as a warm-up before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning. It's super simple, but that's going to increase the sensitivity of your proprioceptors, avoid injury, and just make you a better mover and feeler on court. So the first one is pretty simple. Just jumping on the spot, one-legged. You can swap, wait till they get a little bit tired, but notice how I'm making little corrections. The second one, standing barefoot, but keeping your eyes closed. Now this is super tricky. Keeping your eyes closed, you'll lose your balance, but then just get it back, settle your breath, and just concentrate on what you're trying to do. So here, settle, quite tricky, but you'll be able to get there over time. The next one's called around the clock. So we start on one leg, and we go to 12 o'clock. Notice I just touched the ground. Then we go to 3 o'clock. We can go in front of the leg or behind the leg. I prefer to go behind. We go back to 6 o'clock and then across to 9 o'clock. Then we swap legs and we go again, okay? Super important that we're bending to max range and we're able to just touch the toe. So it's really not landing on the ground, It's just a little kiss on the ground, and then you're using the other ankle for stability. There's 3 really easy and quick exercises. Add into your programs. So we've spoken about proprioception and tracking skill. So if we're tracking that ball, our feet are giving our brains constant messages to know where we are, so our movement is flowing. The other thing is balance. When we get to the shot, we got to play with strength, but we've also got to be supple enough to play with flow. This TheraBand can be a super tool when used right, in the fact that it's going to help with my shoulder turn when I'm getting set for the shot. If I'm really conscious of my feet, I can be really aware of my body position. So in this example, I'm going to play a side-on forehand like I'm coming down the court. And when I pull, I'm just going to pull into this part. I've opened up my right hip. So that's basically like I'm taking my racket back, I'm here, and from the point when I'm going to accelerate forward to my contact point is all I'm going to do. Notice how I'm not holding the bar, I'm just resting it. Because I don't want to be forcing my arm. I want to be using my body, so my hips, my glutes, and my core are what's strong and balanced at the moment. So I'm bang. Now I want to do that again like the plyometrics with speed. So I'm not looking to go and hit it with strength. I'm looking to hit with speed. And I go back, and then back, and back again, back again. So that ability to go quickly through that shot will help you when you're swinging to get that sort of speed through the ball. Bang, and then it's flow. Bang and flow. Bang and through. You can do that on the backhand side as well. Obviously just turning, same thing. For single-handers, do use your left hand, but have your hand in the right position, and it's just going to give it that support, because these can sometimes be strong and pull on your wrist in a way that we don't want it, and again, we're avoiding injuries. This is why we're doing these things. So use that left hand. But remember, quick through the action, strong through your hips, strong through your core, keeping your back straight, and you'll have no problem at all. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the core. The core in tennis turns on and off. You don't want to be super muscly around here and strong and rigid. You want it to be flowing through your hips and rotating through the shot. But we need strength in our core. Something like this, like a bridge, that's creating a core that's super tight. We don't want that. We want a core that's turning on and off, and we want it to be able to rotate through the sagittal plane and forward through the body as well as rotation. So, for example, if I'm going to do the bridge, instead of holding here, what I can do is now rotate my body onto my elbow, rotating around. So every time I get to this point, my core's on. Now I'm using more of my leg, so my core's off. Now it's on again, it's off. So I'm using rotation, I'm engaging my legs, but then in the middle, I'm engaging my core. So that's the first exercise. Second one, you can engage your glutes, which is going to be good. But then, if you can put your arms back, like this, and twist around and twist out, when you get to this position and push up, you're going to be using that under tension. So we can go from glute bridge, maybe 10 of those, holding at the top, and adding extensions and twist into that position. Extensions and twist. Again, another super one. The lucky last one is the Supermans, where we can either go from the knees and hands, we go opposites, and in, going out, and in, but I don't think they're hard enough. So if we can go here, then we can get the balance out and in, out and in. And that's super tough. You're using the balance, using the core, but most importantly with the core, you're turning it on and off, which is exactly what we need as a tennis player. So the lucky last thing is recovery as part of injury prevention. These exercises are like prehabilitation. So rather than getting injured, we're using these exercises to create stronger, smaller muscles, stronger sensors in our body with proprioceptors, stronger core so we're able to play through the shot better, and now injury prevention. Now earlier I used this ball for our tracking skills. Now I'm going to use it as a tactile release for my feet. So holding here, putting on the ground, and just rolling the plantar of my foot. A minute, 30 seconds, any amount is good. But what it does is it releases that plantar and it allows your foot to open up a little bit more. So every time you strike the ground, you're going to have less tension in your foot. Okay, this is going to be really, really good for adults because as we age, our muscles and tendons tighten more, especially with the shoes that we wear, the lifestyles that we have sitting down all day. We're pretty horrible to ourselves. Kids will be more supple, so they won't need this as much, but it's a great habit for kids to get into. So all of these exercises today, except for the core, should be done for everyone. For ages 13 plus, I'd add the core in there, but everything else can be done for everyone. Obviously, depending on your fitness level, would be the amount of repetitions you do, how much time you can spend doing it per week. However, at least once a week, you should be doing all of these things, preferably twice a week. If you can get yourself out there in the mountains for a run or a walk, in addition to what you're doing on the tennis court, that would be super beneficial. But the more crossover sports you can do will help your tracking skills like football, basketball, tennis, squash, swimming, anything that's going to get you out moving in a different way is going to help you when you're on the tennis court. So keep working through it, and we'll see you guys in Spain.